Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something very important. We will talk about training your mind for English. Many people think learning English is only about books, grammar, and memorizing words. But that is not the full truth. Learning English really begins in the mind. Your mind is like a small garden. If you take care of it, beautiful things can grow. If you ignore it, nothing grows. English grows in the same way. When you train your mind, learning becomes easier and more natural. Chapter 1. The Mind That Learns English. Many learners believe English is difficult. They tell themselves, "English is too hard for me." When the mind hears this again and again, it begins to believe it. Once the mind believes something is impossible, it stops trying. This is why the first step is to change the way you think. Instead of saying, "English is hard," try saying, "I am learning English step by step." This small change can make a big difference. Your mind becomes open to learning instead of being afraid of it. When I first started learning English, my mind was full of fear. I felt nervous every time I heard someone speak English. The words sounded fast and confusing. I thought I would never understand them. But one day I made a small decision. I told myself that I would not run away from English anymore. Instead, I would slowly train my mind to accept it. I began by listening to very simple stories. At first, I understood only a few words, but that was enough. My mind slowly became familiar with the sounds. Training your mind means giving it small and simple steps. If you try to learn too much at once, your mind becomes tired. It becomes confused and frustrated. Imagine lifting a heavy weight when you are not strong enough. You will quickly give up. But if you start with small weights, your strength grows slowly. Learning English works the same way. Start with small sentences. Start with simple words. Let your mind become comfortable with them. Another important part of training your mind is repetition. The mind remembers things that it sees again and again. When you repeat words and sentences, they slowly become natural. At first, your mind has to work very hard to remember a word. But after repeating it many times, the word becomes easy. It becomes part of your memory. This is why listening, reading, and speaking regularly is very helpful. Every repetition makes the mind stronger. Your environment also affects your mind. If English is always around you, your mind slowly accepts it as normal. For example, you can change the language on your phone to English. You can watch English videos. You can listen to English music. Even if you do not understand everything, your mind is still learning. The sounds, patterns, and words become familiar. Over time, they stop feeling strange. Another powerful way to train your mind is by thinking in English. Many learners always translate from their native language. This makes learning slower. The mind becomes busy translating every word. But when you begin to think in English, your mind starts using the language directly. At first, this may feel difficult. You may only think in very short sentences like, "I am hungry," or "It is a sunny day." That is perfectly fine. Simple thinking is the beginning of natural thinking. Your mind also needs patience. Learning a language takes time. Some days you will feel progress. Other days you may feel stuck. This is normal. The mind learns slowly and quietly. Sometimes you do not notice improvement immediately, but every day your mind is collecting new information. Every word you hear and every sentence you read becomes part of your knowledge. Slowly, these small pieces connect together. Confidence also plays a very important role in training your mind. When you believe you can learn, your mind becomes stronger. When you doubt yourself, your mind becomes weaker. Many learners stop speaking because they are afraid of mistakes. But mistakes are not enemies. They are teachers. Every mistake shows you something new. When you correct it, your mind learns the right way. I remember when I spoke English for the first time with someone. My sentences were not perfect. I made many mistakes. But something wonderful happened. The person understood me. That moment changed my thinking. I realized communication is more important than perfection. My mind became more relaxed. From that day, speaking English felt less scary. Training your mind also means staying curious. Curiosity makes learning exciting. When you hear a new word, ask yourself what it means. When you see a sentence, try to understand how it works. Curiosity turns learning into an adventure. Every new word becomes a small discovery. The mind enjoys discovering new things. It is also important to create daily habits. Habits train the mind without stress. For example, you can listen to English for 10 minutes every morning. You can read one short paragraph every day. These small habits slowly build a strong foundation. Your mind begins to expect English as part of your daily life. Over time, something amazing happens. English stops feeling foreign. The words begin to feel familiar. Your mind starts recognizing patterns automatically. Sentences become easier to understand. Speaking becomes more natural. This is the result of training your mind step by step. Remember, learning English is not a race. It is a journey of the mind. Every learner moves at a different speed. What matters most is consistency and patience. If you train your mind gently and regularly, progress will come naturally. Your mind is powerful. When you guide it in the right direction, it can learn amazing things. English is just one of those things. With the right mindset, simple practice, and daily habits, your mind will slowly become comfortable with the language. And this is the beginning of training your mind for English. Chapter 2. Building the daily English habit. Learning English is not about studying once in a while. It is about doing small things every day. Your mind learns best when it sees something again and again. If you practice English only once a week, your mind forgets many things. But if you practice a little every day, your mind stays active and remembers better. Think about brushing your teeth. You do it every day without thinking. It is a habit. Learning English should become the same kind of habit. When English becomes part of your daily routine, your mind stops feeling pressure. It simply accepts English as a normal part of life. When I was learning English, I did not study for many hours every day. Instead, I practiced in small moments. Sometimes I listened to a short story. Sometimes I read a simple page. Other times I spoke a few sentences to myself. These small daily actions slowly trained my mind. One of the easiest habits you can build is listening. Listening helps your mind understand the rhythm of English. Every language has its own music. When you listen often, your mind becomes familiar with the sound. Even if you do not understand every word, your brain is still learning. For example, you can listen to English while walking, cooking, or resting. Short podcasts, simple stories, or slow conversations are very helpful. The goal is not to understand everything. The goal is to let your mind hear English regularly. Reading is another powerful daily habit. Reading shows your mind how words work together. It teaches sentence structure and vocabulary at the same time. You do not need difficult books. In fact, simple books are better in the beginning. You can start with short stories, graded readers, or small articles. Read slowly and calmly. If you see a new word, try to understand it from the sentence. Sometimes you can check a dictionary, but do not stop too often. The goal is to enjoy reading while your mind absorbs the language. Writing is also a great habit for training the mind. Writing forces your brain to organize thoughts in English. When you write, you practice vocabulary, grammar, and sentence building at the same time. You do not need to write long essays. Start with very small things. You can write about your day. You can describe your room, your plans, or your thoughts. Even 5 sentences a day can make a big difference. Over time, your writing becomes clearer and stronger. Speaking is another important habit. Many learners understand English but feel afraid to speak. This fear is normal, but the only way to improve speaking is to practice speaking. If you do not have someone to speak with, you can still practice. You can speak to yourself. You can describe what you are doing. For example, you can say, "I am making tea," or "Today the weather is warm." These simple sentences train your mind to use English naturally. Recording your voice can also help. When you listen to yourself, you notice how you sound. You may hear mistakes or pronunciation problems. This is not a bad thing. It is a chance to improve. Each recording helps your mind become more aware of the language. Another helpful habit is learning a few new words every day. Do not try to learn too many words at once. 5 words a day is enough. When you learn a word, try to use it in a sentence. Using the word helps your mind remember it. For example, if you learn the word bright, you can say, "The sun is bright today." If you learn the word quiet, you can say, "The room is quiet." Simple sentences help the word stay in your memory. Reviewing is also an important habit. The mind forgets things if we do not revisit them. At the end of the week, look at the words and sentences you learned. Read them again. Try to use them again. This small review strengthens your memory. Another powerful habit is surrounding yourself with English. This means bringing English into your daily life. Change your phone language to English. Follow English pages online. Watch English videos or shows. At first it may feel confusing, but slowly your mind adjusts. The more you see English around you, the more natural it becomes. Your brain begins to recognize words quickly. It is also important to stay relaxed. Habits should not feel like punishment. Learning should feel interesting and enjoyable. If you feel tired, take a break. If something feels too difficult, choose something easier. Remember, the goal is consistency, not perfection. Small daily actions are more powerful than long study sessions that happen only once in a while. I remember a time when I felt like I was not improving. I thought maybe I was learning too slowly, but when I looked back at my old notes, I saw something surprising. My sentences had become longer. My vocabulary had grown. My understanding had improved. This happened because of daily habits. The progress was quiet and gradual. I did not notice it day by day, but it was happening. Your mind grows in the same quiet way. Each day you add a small piece of knowledge. Over time, these pieces connect together. Suddenly you realize you can understand more than before. This is the power of daily practice. Training your mind does not require perfect grammar or advanced vocabulary. It only requires patience and consistency. When English becomes part of your daily life, learning becomes natural. Little by little, your confidence grows. Your understanding improves. Your mind becomes comfortable with the language. And this is how daily habits slowly build strong English skills. Now we are ready to explore the next step of this journey. Chapter 3. Removing fear and building confidence. Fear is one of the biggest barriers in learning English. Many people understand English, but they feel afraid to speak. Some people know many words, but they stay silent. Their mind tells them, "What if I make a mistake?" Or, "What if people laugh at me?" These thoughts create fear. Fear is natural. Everyone feels it when learning something new. But fear should not control your learning. When fear becomes too strong, it stops the mind from practicing. And without practice, improvement becomes slow. When I first tried to speak English, my voice was not strong. I spoke slowly, and sometimes I stopped in the middle of sentences. I worried that people would notice my mistakes. But something important happened during those early conversations. Most people did not care about my mistakes. They cared about understanding me. That moment helped me understand something very important. Communication is more important than perfection. Language is a tool for sharing ideas, feelings, and information. The goal is to express yourself, not to speak like a perfect textbook. Mistakes are not enemies. They are guides. Every mistake shows you where you can improve. If you never make mistakes, you are probably not practicing enough. In fact, mistakes mean that you are trying. Think about a child learning to walk. At first, the child falls many times. But falling does not mean failure. Each fall teaches the child something new about balance. Eventually, the child learns to walk confidently. Learning English works the same way. Your first sentences may not be perfect. Your pronunciation may not sound exactly right. But every attempt teaches your mind something valuable. One powerful way to remove fear is to change how you see mistakes. Instead of feeling embarrassed, try to feel curious. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? When you correct a mistake, your mind remembers the correct form better. Another helpful method is practicing in safe environments. You do not always need a large audience. You can start by speaking with a friend who is also learning. You can join online language groups where everyone is practicing together. In these spaces, mistakes are normal and accepted. Talking to yourself is also a very useful practice. It may feel strange at first, but it is very effective. You can describe your actions or your surroundings. For example, you can say, "I am preparing breakfast," or "The weather is cool today." These small conversations train your mind to think and speak in English. Another powerful exercise is reading out loud. When you read aloud, your mind and voice work together. You practice pronunciation and rhythm at the same time. Even if you read only one paragraph each day, your confidence will slowly grow. Recording yourself can also help build confidence. When you listen to your own voice, you become more aware of how you speak. At first, you may feel surprised or uncomfortable hearing your voice, but after some time, you become familiar with it. You also notice improvements. Confidence also grows when you celebrate small successes. Sometimes learners focus too much on what they cannot do. Instead, try to notice what you can do now that you could not do before. Maybe you can understand a short story. Maybe you can introduce yourself in English. Maybe you can write a small paragraph. These achievements matter. Each one shows progress. Your mind becomes stronger when you recognize your progress. Confidence grows step by step, just like language skills. Another way to build confidence is by learning useful phrases instead of worrying about perfect grammar. Simple expressions like, in my opinion, I think that, or let me explain, help you speak more smoothly. These phrases give your mind structure during conversation. Listening to different speakers can also increase confidence. English is spoken in many ways around the world. People have different accents, speeds, and styles. When you hear this variety, you realize something important. Perfect pronunciation is not necessary for communication. Understanding this idea helps remove pressure. Your goal is to be clear and understandable, not perfect. Confidence also grows when you stay patient with yourself. Some days you will feel strong and motivated. Other days you may feel slow or confused. This is a normal part of learning. The mind grows in waves, not in straight lines. During difficult days, remind yourself why you started learning English. Maybe you want better opportunities. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to understand more of the world. These reasons give strength to your learning journey. Another powerful tool is positive self-talk. The words you say to yourself shape your thinking. If you constantly tell yourself, I cannot do this, your mind believes it. But if you say, I am improving every day, your mind becomes more confident. Your thoughts create your learning environment. Positive thoughts encourage effort and persistence. Over time, something wonderful begins to happen. The fear that once felt so strong begins to fade. You start speaking more freely. You begin to enjoy conversations. English becomes a tool instead of a challenge. You may still make mistakes sometimes, but they no longer stop you. Instead, they become part of the learning process. Confidence does not appear suddenly. It grows slowly through practice, patience, and courage. Every sentence you speak builds that confidence. Remember, every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once felt nervous. The difference is that they continued practicing even when it felt uncomfortable. And you can do the same. By removing fear and building confidence, your mind becomes open, relaxed, and ready to learn more. Now we are ready for the final chapter of this journey. Chapter 4. Living in English. Every day, many learners study English only during study time. They open a book, learn for a while, and then close it. After that, they return completely to their native language. When this happens, the mind forgets English quickly. The brain needs regular contact with the language. Living in English means bringing English into your daily life. It means letting English become part of your normal routine. When you do this, your mind becomes familiar with the language naturally. You do not need to move to another country to live in English. You can create an English environment anywhere. Small changes can make a big difference. For example, you can start with your phone. Change the language settings to English. At first, it may feel strange. Some words may be confusing. But after a few days, your mind begins to recognize them easily. Every time you use your phone, you learn something new without even trying. Another simple step is watching English videos. Videos are very helpful because they combine sound and images. When you see actions while hearing words, your mind understands more easily. You can start with simple videos or cartoons. Later, you can move to movies, shows, or documentaries. Do not worry if you cannot understand everything. Focus on understanding the main idea. Over time, your listening skills will improve naturally. Listening to English music is also a wonderful way to learn. Songs help your mind remember words and phrases. The rhythm and melody make learning enjoyable. You may even find yourself singing the words without thinking. This is another way your mind absorbs the language. Reading in English can also become part of your daily life. You can read short articles, simple books, or even social media posts. The important thing is to read regularly. When you read often, your vocabulary grows and your understanding becomes stronger. You can also label objects around your home. For example, you can write door, table, mirror, or window on small pieces of paper. When you see these words every day, your mind remembers them easily. This is a simple but powerful method. Thinking in English is another step toward living in the language. Try to describe your daily activities in your mind. For example, when you wake up, you can think, I am getting out of bed. When you eat breakfast, you can think, I am drinking coffee. These small thoughts train your brain to use English naturally. Writing a journal in English is also a great habit. At the end of the day, you can write a few sentences about your experiences. You can write about what you did, how you felt, or what you learned. Over time, your sentences will become longer and more expressive. Another helpful idea is speaking whenever you have the chance. If you meet someone who speaks English, try to start a conversation. Even a short conversation can give you valuable practice. You can also join online communities where people practice English together. Many learners around the world are looking for speaking partners. Talking with them can be exciting and motivating. Learning English with others makes the journey more enjoyable. You can share experiences, ask questions, and encourage each other. Another important thing is staying curious. The English language is full of interesting words and expressions. When you hear something new, take a moment to learn it. Curiosity keeps your mind active and engaged. Also, remember to review what you learn. Sometimes we learn new words but forget them later. Reviewing helps keep knowledge fresh in your memory. Looking back at your notes once a week can make a big difference. As you continue living in English, you will notice small changes in your mind. Words will come to you more quickly. Sentences will feel easier to build. Listening will become more comfortable. This progress may feel slow at first, but it becomes stronger with time. Learning a language is like growing a tree. In the beginning, the growth is small and quiet. But with care and patience, the tree becomes strong and tall. Another important lesson is enjoying the journey. Learning English should not feel like a burden. It should feel like an adventure. Every new word is a discovery. Every conversation is an experience. When you enjoy the process, your mind stays motivated. Motivation gives energy to your learning. Sometimes you may feel tired or discouraged. That is normal. When this happens, take a short break. Relax and return later with fresh energy. Learning should be balanced and healthy. Always remember that progress is happening, even when you cannot see it clearly. Your mind is constantly absorbing information. Every word you hear, read, or speak adds to your knowledge. Over time, these small pieces come together. Suddenly you realize you can understand more than before. You can speak more easily. English begins to feel natural. This is the power of training your mind and living in the language. Your journey with English does not end here. In many ways, it is just beginning. Language learning is a lifelong adventure. There will always be new words to discover and new ideas to express. But now you have something very important. You have the mindset, habits, and confidence to continue growing. So keep listening, keep reading, keep speaking, keep exploring. Your mind is capable of amazing things, and with patience, curiosity, and daily practice, English will continue to grow inside your mind. Thank you for being part of this journey. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining.